There's so much going on in the NFT industry that people are already calling it a saturated market. NFTs are being sold for millions of dollars, and the biggest celebrities in the world are collaborating with popular NFT platforms like OpenSea and Nifty Gateway. However, this does not mean that there's a barrier to entry in the market. As a matter of fact, we are still new to this world and have a lot to learn about it. Today, I am going to help you understand why it is not too late to enter the NFT marketplace and become successful. First of all, you might have heard about some people saying that the NFT market has become saturated. The reason they say this is because they keep hearing about the latest Bored Ape NFTs selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, these people do not realize that only renowned brands such as Bored Ape and CryptoPunks can maintain this level of consistency. Lots of NFT artists find it hard to sell their art online, but the media will never focus on failures. However, this does not mean that there's a monopoly in the market. It just means that a lot of artists and flippers do not have the right skills or knowledge to operate in this world. This shows that people are still trying to understand NFTs and how to succeed in the marketplace. My research has shown me that so far, NFT saturation is only selective. For example, you should not try to link your NFTs to exclusive yacht parties because Bored Ape has already captured that audience. But you can probably link your art to exclusive gallery tickets or something similar. The NFT world has given birth to multiple subsections, and the saturation in the market is limited to only a few of those sections. So you can still play around in the sections that have not been tapped yet. For example, pottery-based NFTs are relatively new and have not dominated the market yet. You can achieve great success here if your art is of a certain standard. The second reason is that the NFT industry is just riding on the success of the already established brands. Names like Bored Ape Yacht Club, Beeple, and CryptoPunks attracted a lot of people towards NFTs earlier in 2021. However, even after all this time, people are still only talking about these collections or their sub-collections. Nowadays, famous memes are being sold by their original creators for a lot of money, but each meme has its own separate creator, so the best they can do is command a huge price for a single NFT in an auction. There's no scope for volume-based sales. The only other consistent NFTs are the ones that are created by global celebrities like The Weeknd or Calvin Harris. Honestly speaking, these people do not depend on NFTs for their income, so their motivation is not the same as an artist who makes money only by selling NFTs. Famous names usually drop less frequently, so the focus always remains on exclusive NFT brands. Since this is the case, and only a handful of names are truly dominating the market, you can easily step in with your own concept and make it go viral. You never know what might work for your target audience, so it is not too late to become the next Beeple. In case you did not know this, the number of NFT platforms available online is increasing every day. At some point, it seemed as if OpenSea would remain the most popular NFT platform in the world. However, recently a new platform named LooksRare was launched and it did around $400 million in sales in just 3 days. Of course, it was helped by an exclusive Larva Labs NFT drop, but that is still an amazing volume of sales. Such numbers can easily threaten the monopoly that OpenSea is trying to build. Also, Coinbase is coming out with its own NFT platform as well, and it has a strong financial backup to help it compete with the current leaders. The industry is going to experience a very strong shift in momentum soon, and you should be present to catch it at the right time. Next, you should consider the development of interactive NFTs. After the massive success of Bored Ape Yacht Club, lots of brands have tried to imitate their style. For example, artists like Steve Aoki provide their fans exclusive access to their concerts if they buy their NFTs. This has given way to platforms such as Cybertino. Their business model has managed to create a whole new world for their users, and is a great way for developers to engage with the industry like never before. Similarly, if you are a coder, then you can enter this world and interact with your audience in a totally unique way. There's no limit to what you can do on such platforms when it comes to the creation process. People are bored of just owning digital art. They want to be able to do something with it. You can make that happen for them. This market is still young and you can easily become an early member. Just remember that this is a very specific section, so you will need to know programming skills if you want to be successful in creating interactive NFTs. Please take a look at this chart, This chart is the percentage of adults that said they don't know what an NFT is. This also clearly shows that we are very early into this space. Speaking about statistics, only 2.8% of people own an NFT, whereas 19% of people own crypto. Another thing you should keep in mind is that there's always scope for improvement in any industry. The NFT market is no exception to that. We have already seen the integration of NFT add-ons such as armors and weapons. They sell for a lot of cash, and also increase the overall values of the NFTs they get added to. The gaming industry has been affected by this feature the most. So you will always see different ways in which the industry players are trying to improve on what they already have. You could be the next artist with a revolutionary improvement to the system. You could probably come up with an environment-friendly alternative to minting. Or you could even eliminate the need for gas fees. The NFT market is still very young, so I am sure that there's a lot more that can be done to improve the overall experience from minting to buying and selling. Even established industries like real estate continue to adapt to the changes of the world, especially if you consider what Mark Zuckerberg is trying to accomplish with Meta. NFTs are not an exception to this. You can still cement yourself as an early leader of the NFT movement. All you need to do is come up with a solution to the industry's numerous problems. Speaking about improvement, the Ethereum blockchain team is working very hard to improve on some of its technical issues. After the initial success of NFT platforms like Solana, people have started to question the amount of time it takes to mint an NFT on the Ethereum blockchain. They are also criticizing the gas fees and commission percentages OpenSea is charging. All of this has been made possible because of the recent competition from platforms that do not charge any such fees. The OpenSea team was smart enough to pick up on these trends and got to work immediately on their own blockchain. So if the Ethereum blockchain is still trying to adapt to the market, then you can be sure that it is still easy for new players to enter and dominate the NFT space. The most important opinions to consider come from experts. The current NFT experts are saying that the NFT industry is still very much in its early stages of development. There's a lot more to come, and we might just see a completely different world over the next few years. They have even said that it is silly to call the market saturated or overexposed because that is just not the case. An industry is said to be saturated and only a handful of players dominate over 90% of the total market. This is not the case with NFTs. It is true that some brands are doing much better than the others. However, they are not dominating to the point where entry is impossible. For example, the probability of success in the NFT industry for a new NFT flipper is at around 29%, and this is only because a majority of the current players are inexperienced. So, even beginners have a fair shot at success. All they need to do is use their brains and study the industry before making any decisions. So if the experts are saying that the market is young, there's nothing else you need to hear. I know it might be scary to see the prices at which some NFTs are being sold, but you must remember that these art pieces make up a very small percentage of the actual market. Do not get discouraged by sponsored media reports. Do your research and plan out your strategies. The market is still young and we are still early into it. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos about NFTs. I will see you next time. Goodbye.